Greetings and welcome to Metaphysical Awakenings with Barbara and Eric. Today is episode 8 entitled, We Are Allowed to Be Human. Now, the last topic that we talked about was very dear to my heart, but this one was one that you brought in today that was really resonating with you. Mm-hmm. And why is that?
So many times we fall back into how we have been pre-programmed by our parents, our friends, our societal norms, if you will. And we're just not allowed to react or be human in the moment. There's an expectation for us to sit up straight, say nothing, don't cry, don't laugh, don't do anything, sit there and be a non-human. But yeah, a non-human, a robot.
A non-human, yes.
There you go.
Oh, wow.
It's very unhealthy. It's really, really, really unhealthy. We have to allow our emotions to move through us because we start subcompacting them when we're not allowed to have a normal human reaction. We're starting to create a personality, even aspect of ourselves that's nothing even close to the truth of who we are. You know, we are put upon by society and by those who think that they know everything. And there are all of these different molds. Well, you can go to that mold or you can do. I don't fit in a mold. You don't fit in a mold, and neither do you. We are not genetically predisposed to be some fake-a-rooney.
Oh, wow.
And half of the time, when I had my metaphysical class way back in the beginning, starting in 2000, well, it started in 2004, but 2007, it was really rolling. And I would do, and some of this is repetitive from some of our other episodes, so just bear with me, but I would have the ladies go into the bathroom and do look right into your eyes and say, I love you, Barbara. Okay? And they would have absolute fallout, emotional reactions. I would say, now why? Why can't you say that? I don't know who I am. Welcome to what society has done to us as human beings.
That pressure of fitting in, I think that's something that probably everyone who is a human has felt that pressure before, right? to fit that certain mold. And one thing I've realized over the 40 years I've been on this human plane is that every human is individual and unique and beautiful in their own way, and there's no one mold that really fits all that other than being a human being.
I know. I have a secret. Shh, are you ready?
Okay. Shh. Should we let them know too?
I don't know. I have to be careful.
Okay. I think they're ready.
Okay. There is room for every single human being on this planet to come and do the things that you are meant to do.
Wow.
Do not allow OP's jealousy, other people's jealousy, other people's opinions, other people's imagined way for you to react. Do not be put upon anymore. I keep going back to get up in the tree and put God in the middle of it. But this time is journal. Let's remember who you are, who you came to be. Call in your whole committee, the angels, the archangels, the masters, the saints, your spirit guides, God, Mother and Father God. If I'm made in God's image, there has to be a Mother God, because there's no Father God here. I'm just not equipped. Forgive me, but I'm just not equipped. My point being, again, perhaps we were put upon there.
Wow. So going back to your illustration of bringing these lovely your friends, these women, into the mirror and having them see themselves and saying, I love myself, and them saying, I don't know who I am.
All of them that broke down and cried, Eric, that was the bottom of it. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No,
but
you
that's
didn't.
the truth of the whole thing. They had not a clue who they were in that moment. They were lost.
So for someone who is feeling lost or doesn't know who they are, how do you start?
You start at the very beginning and you go and you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, who am I? God, show me the way. Allow yourself plenty of space to be human. You are going to have emotional breakdowns while you do this. Don't fall into a funk. Don't fall into a depression. This is for you to shed all of that shite and move on from it. Don't fall backward. We were never meant to come to this planet, fail, and then sit in the middle of it for the rest of our lives. That's poppycock.
Right.
And so many people just allow themselves to become more and more and more broken about that which happened to them. They're sitting in the middle of a mud puddle. They can't possibly pull themselves out now. Reach out for help. It is okay. Everybody on this planet needs a phone a friend. Some of them need professional phone a friends. People who are much smarter than I will ever be. I had to reach out. I had to have my professional phone a friends. I was not embarrassed. I was not anything but healthy after it was all said and done. I lost my mother in a car accident. I never did anything to help myself. I pushed that grief down, 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 down. And then I lost my husband. This is a 3-year period. Now, who in the hell can do that by themselves? Who can work through all of that grief and that pain and that loss by themselves? Nobody, because we're not meant to. By the time I figured out that I was so messed up and Joey passed, I had to go on an antidepressant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was lower than low. I wasn't sleeping. I slept in 7 days. And somebody recognized, oh, Barbara, you are stuck in a funk and a depression. Let's raise you up. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm not embarrassed to say that I stayed on the antidepressant as long as I needed to. For me, and physically and mentally working through all of my stuff, I was on that for 6 months.
Okay.
It's not meant for you to have to stay on or in anything at all. We are constantly moving. When you're not moving, that's when it all starts to happen.
That's when bad things like disease and discomfort happen, and
disharmony happens in your life. Disorder becomes part of your experience. Dis-ease starts to move in and around in your cells. And then if those cells start collecting and you're adding more of the 3Ds, you're going to have a problem. And it's not meant for you to be. God did not bring you here to have dis-ease, disorder, and disharmony. These things which happen to us are, in a sense, growing pains. They're not meant to take us off the planet. They're meant to expand our human experience and grow.
Wow. There's been times in my life to where I have stayed stagnant.
Yeah.
And at first I try to convince myself, okay, this is a good thing, but very soon it becomes not a good thing, whether it's health, gaining weight, becoming more depressed, more anxious, moving forward, and sometimes just staying busy.
Well, that can do
help.
it too.
Well, yes, too much busyness could certainly be bad, but sometimes whenever I've been in just low places, just staying busy, whether it's with work or seeing friends or family or just taking a walk, sometimes can be
Cathartic.
so helpful in that process.
But don't put off your true emotions. Look, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross wrote The 5 Stages of Grief. That goes for so many other things. 5 stages of death, forgive me. But it can be grief. It can be certain circumstances in your life. We are not meant to sit and wallow. Yeah, that's one of my favorite words. Are you a wallower? The point being, you weren't designed to be a wallower. You were brought here to learn, to grow, to expand to the whole human person that you are. There's room for everybody to do this.
Yes.
Don't let anybody put upon you anything that's not your truth. If it's not your truth, all of your untruth meters are going to go off and they're going to ring. And you're going, something's going on here.
Going back to that mirror, it can be difficult to say in the mirror, I love myself, Eric, or insert your name there, as many of you have probably have felt. Something that personally has helped me is saying, I am a child of God.
Yeah.
In the mirror. That I can at least look at myself and accept that sometimes more than I love myself. That's a tougher one. But saying I'm a child of God is just such a basic truth. We are all children of God, and children are learning to find themselves. They may not know who they are yet, but they're on that process of discovering and finding who they are, and recognizing that maybe you don't know exactly who you are yet. That's okay. That's part of the human experience.
Don't we change all the time? I mean, literally,
Yes.
Think about this. It gets me emotional. Think about how many different versions of you there's been.
One thing that comes into my mind is like science. Like we shed our cells at every 7 years or
Yes.
something. So I am nothing of myself that was 7 years ago.
Right.
So going back to the human experience and knowing who we are or not knowing who we are, a lot of times that comes from a place of fear and unknown. And that's been one of our main missions throughout this entire podcast, is to eliminate that fear. And one thing that you told me earlier today that I really liked is taking the F out of fear. So remove that F out of the EAR and then add a H to the beginning to it and the T to the beginning of it. So then it spells heart.
Yes.
And I really like that. I'm going to be using that this
Thank
week as
you.
a tool to kind of to shift the energy. Anytime I'm feeling fearful, I'm just going to remove that F there and toss on that H and a T and come from a place of a truth and heart and just being a human being. We are not human perfectionists. I know some of us like to be human perfectionists at times, but you know how that goes.
Right. We are, when we have these moments of fear, if we get into the practice of saying, okay, I have a fear. Is this my fear? Is this something that I am actually fearful of? Is there something going around me that is causing this fear? Or, we've talked about ghosties and energies. Is this something or someone else's fear that's hitting me?
I can relate to that so much. Not so much the ghosties,
Okay.
but from what you brought us in to this conversation with the way that we were raised as children, and a lot of times parents, for the most part, they do their absolute best.
Of course.
With the skills that they know and understand.
They mean well.
But
always.
At least personally speaking, a lot of my fears have been projections of what I've felt that they expected me to be or become or am. And
the molds.
The molds. Going back to the molds, exactly.
And when we don't fit into the mold and we get that look from somebody that we love about and we respect and we care for, and they're giving us the look like we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing, that is when we have to sit up straight and allow that to just pass on by, because that's not the truth of who you are. And you are allowed to lovingly convey. That's probably great for when you were growing up and what you have experienced and all of the things. And I love you dearly. That, for me, in this moment, is just not my truth.
Yes.
Powerful. Causing people to think. The less said, the better. Thank you for sharing. But that's not the truth of me. Have a beautifully blessed day. Exit stage right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. A big key to being human and being fully human is to eliminate that fear, because whenever we have that fear, as we were discussing earlier today, we lose our light and also our life force.
Yes. Powerful stuff there, you're saying. We diminish our whole human experience living with a fear of what again? Wait a minute. Am I just fearing the fear here? What am I afeared of? I'm sorry. I like Gunsmoke and went back to Festus Hagen there, but what am I afeared of? But seriously speaking, what are you afraid of? What is causing you this moment where you feel threatened in some way? Now, if you're in a place where you all of a sudden have this, oh my gosh moment, I want you to look around, because there could be something your higher self is getting your attention to, and you really do need to get out of the way. Fight or flight.
Yes.
We will never get rid of fear and fight or flight. That was born within you for a reason. We are talking about the fear of the put upon.
It's almost like I'm trying to find the word for it. Not make-believe fear. It's an illusion.
It's an eminence front. It's a put on. It's a predisposed condition, probably from generations back. People were afraid of bucking the system. People were afraid to speak their mind because mostly they got put down, and way back, many of them got killed for it. Going back to expanding religions and being able to love God in your own way, people paid for with their lives. And
that would cause others who wanted to follow in the same footsteps to be fearful because they don't want to lose their lives.
Right. So now they have to alter their whole life and go underground to love God their own way, or do their own thing, or practice, or God help us sometimes just to be the human being God brought us to the earth to be. Allow your humanness. I don't care if you're boy, girl, an intermix of what, it does not matter. You are a beautiful child of God. You are here just like us to learn, love your neighbor, love God, shut up and go home. Just as Sylvia would say.
So you mentioned earlier today when we were talking that fear and trust in God are mutually exclusive. And you said that was a hard pill to swallow at first.
Yes. I didn't like that at all. In fact, I got mad at the person that told me that. I love her very much, but I got mad at her. I'm like, wait.
Because that insinuates that you're not trusting God.
Well, if I got all this fear about this stuff, what are you telling me I don't love God and trust God? What are you talking about? Oh, contraire, monsieur. Another tool. All right, I've got fear in this moment that I'm going to go out there, I'm going to sing a song, and I'm just going to be horrible. These people are going to hate me. Look, God created you. God gave us our music. God moves that music through us. So I'm going to invite God to take over this moment completely from me. Like the Carrie Underwood song, Jesus Take the Wheel. Whatever your religion matters not to me as long as you allow God. First, let God move you through your moments of fear and you won't have them.
Since we're talking about music, the idea of humanness and perfection is a big part of music. A lot of artists and songwriters have shared similar stories to where they're working on a track, it sounds like 95% there, it's really great, but they just want to get it to that next level, so they start really detailing things, auto-tuning things, making sure exactly things are quantized onto the track with timing, and they're like, all right, I finally did it. And other people listen to it and they're like, I like the other version better, because there was too much perfection in it.
Right.
As human beings, we are inherently imperfect.
Flawed.
We're flawed.
Who cares?
It's part of the human experience.
Yeah.
And so whenever we hear something that we perceive as being too perfect, it's not attracting to us.
You're right. It's too mechanized. If that's even a...
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Too mechanized. And, that's why some people don't really care for music that's more electronic.
Yeah, okay.
Because it doesn't resonate with them as much. It's too mechanized or too perfect.
That's funny. I'm putting my album out there on October the 13th. It's my album drop party. I'm crazy proud of it. And I've already found 2 boo-boos. And I'm so proud of them. You know what? I'm human. I made mistakes. I let it go. And I'm not lost a moment of sleep over it. I'm glad that you know what it's like? It's like getting your new car and you're worried about the first scratch.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Well, nope. I'm okay. I am perfectly fine with the imperfection of Barbara McGillicuddy because I am. I am who I am.
That's right. And her album is The Divine Blues, and you can find that in all streaming platforms.
Oh, thank you for that wonderful advertisement. My point being, regardless of your craft, regardless if you're I don't know all the different walks of life. An engineer is going to have to be precise because mathematics is going to line things up. But you know what? There's flaws in all things. And what we do with that is we take them on and wear ourselves as the flaw.
Ooh.
I am not that flaw. That doesn't stop my humanity of me being me. I'm not going to wear that flaw. I don't care enough. But that took me a long time to get to. Think about that. You had a reaction.
Yeah. As far as wearing feelings from the past or flaws from the past, because we do make flaws, but we are not that flaw. We may have made it in that moment, and it may have been wrong, a flaw. But once we acknowledge it and move forward to it and heal from it, we can take off that cloak that says we are that flaw, and we are just spiritual beings living a human experience, and that's not going to be the last flaw we make. We'll continue to make flaws, and what's important is that we learn from it, we grow from it, we are respectful to others who have been in the position of that flaw.
Bingo.
And acknowledge when we make that flaw and apologize if necessary.
If necessary, yeah.
It doesn't mean that we need to view ourselves as lowly sinners for the rest of our lives.
Oh gosh, I don't ever want to hear that again.
I know
you
that
are
type
not
of
a sinner. Good grief.
that type of mentality is just so harsh and so
Hurtful.
Absolutely
Hurtful. How could... Okay, well, that's for another show. Don't get me going down that
I
road.
was just thinking about that one. That could be a whole
nother Oprah show, boy. The whole idea with the flaws in that is to understand that it's okay when you mess up, just like I did on a couple of occasions. And I never put that cloak on. I never wore that flaw. I laugh about it. It's there. Everybody going to go out and look for it now. I don't care. Laugh with me.
Yes.
It didn't depreciate the heart and soul that went into the meaning of the songs and the conveyance of the emotions. It has nothing to do with any of that.
I went to a good friend's concert the other week, and fantastic jazz guitar player, and nailed the show. It was the best I've ever seen him play. And I told him, hey, you didn't make a single mistake on there. And he was like, oh, really? I definitely did on this, and this, and this. And it's like,
yep.
I'm also a professional musician. I didn't hear any of those.
Right.
I didn't hear any of those. So if the average person is here, that they think that you made less than zero mistakes, whatever that would be.
That's important that you're saying that, because the mistakes that okay, now I'm shaming myself already. But the mistakes that we make, we don't have to call ourselves out on. People aren't even going to notice 9 times out of 10, unless they're like huge faux pas, like you're standing on the stage and whoop, then you're down. Well, that's just funny as long as you live.
Right.
That's just a hilarious moment forthcoming. How full is your cup? Is it half full or is it half empty? Is it full of joy or is it full of other stuff? No, don't other stuff. Don't put the cloaks on. Don't wear your mistakes. We're not meant to do that. We're here to take the grief, the fear, and the overall negativity off of being a human being. That's our job. Absolutely. That's what we're trying to do. We're not perfect. We certainly don't know everything. But the point is, at least we are attempting to use our lives and our platforms, and the downloads that I get from Spirit are so strong and profound. I can't not share what I hear, because I have asked that this be my life from now on. Whether I share it vocally, whether I talk it, whether I say it, whether I intuit it, it doesn't matter. That which is ours to know as a human being, it is all about the love.
Absolutely.
Period.
One of those downloads that you were sharing with me in terms of fear is facing it head on as opposed to internalizing it.
Okay, yeah.
So whenever we have fear, why shouldn't we just keep it within us? That way we don't have to face it, right?
Right.
If it's within us, right?
Nice pile up of sludge in your spirit. Nice pile up of disharmony in your cells. Nice pile up of future disease in your body. Now that sounds harsh, but if you continue to do it and do it and do it and do it, now you've got a sludge buildup.
Got it. So it sounds like it's something you can maybe temporarily do, but if you do it for too long, it's going to build up, and that fear is just going to, sludge pile is just going to explode.
Right, and it will explode, and it's ugly when it explodes. I'm not even going to touch that, but I am going to say, in that moment, it may be that you can't deal with it, but allow yourself to come back to it. Allow yourself to be in the moment with it and say, I have to understand why this hit me this way.
Okay. You
might be in the middle of, having to, in the middle of a soccer game with children, or, pardon me, whatever the case may be. And it may not be that time, but you have to write yourself a note. Look, this hit me. This twinged me. This is coming up for healing. There's something that God is trying to show you to allow you to bloom instead of wither.
Facing fear head on is challenging. It's difficult.
It can be, sure. Yeah.
It's simple, but definitely and a lot of times not easy.
No, nobody. Life isn't easy, is it?
No.
Regearing ourselves to what the truth of our humanness is takes the bravest people in the world. It's going to be a change of everything that you probably grew up with, everything that you may have believed.
Ooh.
But is it worth your happiness and your joy and your absolute love for everything and everyone?
And being authentic to yourself too. The times whenever I haven't been my true self has caused me a lot of the most disheartening experiences.
Yeah.
Instead of just being who I am.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can feel easier in the moment to be who we want who other people expect us to be.
To fake it till we make it.
But sometimes it's important to fake it till make it. But if we're faking it all the time and just not being authentic.
Right. That's a good point. Always, what is the truth of my soul? What am I here to know? What am I here to learn? What am I here to glean? And when you ask those questions, you open the spiritual door so that your spirit team can now go to work.
Ooh.
There's a very important point. Thank you. Led me right to it. On this earth plane, we have free will. Okay? We have the ability to go through our whole lives and never call for an angel, never call for God, never call for anything. It's our choice for this human life to go through and learn in our own unique way. Therefore, unless it is a specific time in your life and you are about to cross over prematurely, angels will come and interrupt your life and physics, for that matter, and perhaps change situations so they don't happen. However, do yourself a huge favor and allow your angels and your spirit guides to lead you to your highest power. Whatever you call God, I don't care what you call God, as long as you call him. Angels and guides will not intercede on your behalf until they are asked to. They're not allowed to. Free will is your gift coming into this planet so that you can learn and grow. They have no choice. They can't come unless you call.
And I'm so glad that you got back to the topic of free will, because that's something I've been thinking about a lot the past 4 weeks since you brought it up in one of our previous episodes.
Okay.
And a lot of the grand questions that people ask, things like, if God is so good, why would God allow all this to happen?
Oh.
And to me, it seems like because there's free will. If there wasn't free will, and then everything could be perfect because everything was predestined to happen a certain way.
Right.
And I still 100% believe that God is good.
Oh.
And as children of God, as representations of God in each in our own unique ways, we are inherently good. But through that free will, this allows us to make choices that might not be in our best interest and not be in the absolute light of good.
Correct.
And so there's that paradigm right there that it's tough.
Yes.
And that's what I've been thinking about over the last month, and maybe that's a discussion for another day. But I think
That's a good one.
free will is kind of what makes us human
Yes.
and not perfect.
Oh, we could never. There is no perfect.
Right.
Somebody telling you they're perfect, they're full of beans. You know, I haven't met anybody perfect. And one of the lines in our songs, Lord knows we're far from perfect, but we're laughing at the end, 'cause we'll pull through together. Doom, doom, doom.
If you let me be that friend.
That's it.
Huh.
There you go. Now you're getting into my head. Yeah. There it is. Those songs were written with me and God. You know, the words, their download, especially when we did the blues, good grief. You know, I don't of myself really have the capability to do this. I recognize that, and I very happily stand aside and let the downloads come. You can too, though. Please allow yourself the time to learn, grow, do, and be. You can be anything and all things that you're meant to be on this planet, but you have to allow yourself the space.
And allow also trusted friends to be in that space and to witness your humanness and all its good, and sometimes all of the flaws, which a good friend will never say you shouldn't wear that. The good friend's going to say, hey, this happened. I'm glad that you are acknowledging this, but this is not the truth of who you are.
Right. Here's another opportunity for a show. When you find your true self and you make your turn and your friends don't understand.
Right.
There's a new one.
Friends sometimes are for a lifetime, sometimes for a season, and sometimes very short-lived.
Right.
It's different situations. And
it's hard when it's the long-term friends that you've been with forever, and you start to take a spiritual turn that's against what they have believed their whole lives. You know, adult people and mature spiritual people will say, okay, we can agree to disagree on this, and I'm going to love you right through it.
Mm-hmm.
Others may choose to constantly push their agendas, their thoughts. You know, I have family members of the biological units, and rather than acknowledge that I got this gift from that side of the family, I have one who would throw a Bible at me and hit me in the head with it if she could. Again, everybody is here to learn and grow and do. We're not all in the same place. There's room for everybody on this planet to be exactly who they are and who they're meant to be. Just give a guy a space, huh? Let the love flow.
And that's part about, there's so many songs about shining one's light, and that's shining your own uniqueness, your own humanness. Everyone's light is a different hue, a different color, a different energy. But either way, just being authentic and just being who you are is so important.
It's absolutely necessary if you're going to be authentic for yourself and your own soul's growth. Yes. Otherwise, we're going to turn around and we're going to get to do it again and again until we get it.
And be in that place of just being stuck.
Yes, non-growth, being stuck. So the situation is going to come again, but it's going to look a little different, maybe with different people and different timing, maybe in a different place. But when we become aware of what's going on around it, I've done this before. What's going on? Oh, let's look at what this truly is. This is a time for growth, not backward repeat. Boy, you got me going. Got me thinking today.
Me too. This has spurred a lot of other thoughts in my mind as far as future conversations,
Yeah.
because being human is such a huge topic that engulfs so many other subtopics.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to digging deeper into this topic as well as others.
Yeah, me too. Always. This is fun, Eric.
So yeah, shine your light, be your authentic human self, and recognize that it's okay if you're not perfect, and don't wear your flaws. They are not who you are. You are a child of God.
And you're beautiful. It's all about the love.
Absolutely.
Peace out.
On that note, should we end with the prayer for protection?
Yes. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you, God.
Take care. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.